Good morning and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for Friday, December 9th, 2016.
Commissioner Rivas, Commissioner Repenning, and Commissioner Davis are present. Vice President Repenning, we have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Hannah Choi, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Hector Banuelos, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Jennifer Pinkerton, Sanitation.
Good morning, Jose Fuentes, Bureau of Engineering. Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. Vice President Repenning, we do not have any speaker cards under General Public Comment, no commentary under the Neighborhood Council Comment section, and no speaker cards under the regular items.
Hearing no speaker cards on General Public Comments, let's go ahead and close public comments. Also, let's go ahead and close the Neighborhood Council Commentary. That takes us to our first item of business, which is the approval of the minutes for the meeting of Friday, November 18th, 2016.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Commissioner Davis has moved. Commissioner Rivas has seconded. Those minutes have been approved. That takes us to our regular agenda, item number 1. With the Bureau of Contract Administration, a memorandum of understanding between the Core/related Grand Avenue owner, LLC, and the Bureau of Contract Administration for contract compliance services, recommending that the board approve the execution of the Memorandum of Understanding between Core-related Grand Avenue owner, LLC, and the Bureau of Contract Administration once the monitoring agreement between the City of LA and the Los Angeles Grand Avenue Authority, a California Joint Powers Authority, is approved by the Los Angeles City Council. Mr. Chris Jensen on item number 1.
Good morning. I'm Chris Jensen with the Bureau of Contract Administration. Back in 2003, the Grand Avenue Authority was created to build a project which would include a hotel, mixed income apartments, condos, restaurant and retail space, and parking at a cost of over $800 million. Related Companies was selected as the developer to build the project. The CRA was designated to monitor and enforce the payment of prevailing wages. However, with the demise of the CRA, the Bureau of Contract Administration has been asked to take over this monitoring and enforcement. Both the authority, the Grand Avenue Authority, and also the City Council have requested that our office do this. Related has agreed to comply with city, state, and federal regulations, including provisions related to affirmative action, equal employment opportunity, utilization of minority-owned, women-owned, and other business enterprises, and also local hiring. They have, Related has requested that the Bureau of Contract Administration also monitor compliance with the city's living wage ordinance, service contractor worker retention ordinance, and contractor responsibility ordinance. This MOU requires the developer to pay prevailing wages and abide by local hire requirements. It also establishes the unions as the primary source of all craft labor employed on the project. Related will compensate the Bureau of Contract Administration for all its services performed on the project. And for the construction portion, we're estimating that primarily one Management Analyst 2's time will be assigned to the project. The goals are very similar to our standard project labor agreement goals. For local hire, it's 30% of all the hours worked will be done by local resident. And in this case, local resident, they're really looking for someone who lives within 5 miles of the project. Apprentices are also required by the contract, and a local apprentice goal of 50% of all the apprentice hours worked is what they're shooting for on this, same as our project labor agreements. Preferences are given for local hiring and local low-income apprentices. Each construction employer will also adopt an on-the-job training program So on-the-job training to give our local residents some experience is very much a part of this. The Bureau of Contract Administration is going to invoice Related on a quarterly basis, and Related will reimburse our Bureau for all the services related to the project.
So we will be compensated, the Bureau of Contract Administration will be compensated by the developer for all the work that we're performing on this.
That is correct, yes.
Okay. Any questions?
Yes. I wanted to ask, in terms of our policy on local hire, I think it's probably standard practice that often prime contractors use the measurement of within 5 miles of the project. I don't know how successful have we been to that end in terms of inclusion with just 5 miles. And I ask the question because often we have those who are unemployed who may live 10 miles. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to figure out how successful is that? Are we limited in any way to that? And do we outreach to other areas where unemployment within our city exists?
We can outreach to other areas, but they really want to emphasize trying to get the within a 5 mile. We don't have specifically figures on how successful we've been with keeping it within a 5 mile radius. Within keeping the 30% local hire, we're very good. We're typically up around, I believe it's around 38% is what we're doing.
Certainly we want to encourage the 5 mile rule, yet at the same time, if in fact we don't reach our potential in terms of hire in that, and I don't know what the results are specifically, but then I would be interested to find out if in fact after having implemented this 5 mile rule, that in fact if there are additional jobs available, would we then extend our effort, you know what I'm saying, to other areas where there is clearly with outside of the 5 miles high unemployment as well?
We would have to, but they do want to keep the basic emphasis on keeping it within that 5 mile area.
Sure.
And they're really, one thing they're really pushing is to create opportunities for young people, for
Sure,
apprentices,
absolutely.
for training.
I think it's nothing more rewarding than to have the neighborhood where the construction has taken place to reap the benefits and see the results. And at the same time, in terms of accountability, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I just want to ensure if in fact we're not at this effort getting all of the opportunities fulfilled from that implementation of 5 miles, that we reach out to other areas as well. Certainly the priority should be, and it's a great program. I just want to have a tight system of accountability that will reach out to creating opportunities for other Los Angelenos as well, if in fact some opportunities exist.
That's exactly what our office is being tasked with.
All right,
So,
thank you, sir.
Questions? Okay. I'll go ahead and make a motion on agenda item number 1.
So move.
The report will be adopted. Any objections to sending it forthwith? Okay. Report will be adopted and sent forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Jensen. Agenda item number 2, the Bureau of Engineering regarding Council Districts 8 and 9, final closeout change order number 32, Spinello Companies. Recommending the board authorize the city engineer to issue final closeout change order number 32 to Spinello Companies for a deductive amount of $463,332.83 for the North Outfall Sewer Rehabilitation Unit 2, Western Ave to Vermont Ave, and Unit 5, San Pedro Street to Hooper Avenue project to reconcile unused bid items and compensate Spinello Companies for standby equipment due to unforeseen conditions. I have on agenda item number 2 from the Bureau of Engineering, Mr. Gavork Merkuchian.
Good morning.
How did I do on your name, by the way?
Pretty good, actually.
Okay.
Yes, Gavork Merkuchian from Bureau of Engineering, Wastewater Conveyance Construction Division. This project, this contract was 2 separate projects, as we just read, Unit 2 and Unit 5. Between the 2 projects, we had about $15.7 million for construction budget and about 2 miles of rehabilitated sewers. The project was completed successfully, and we just had to work out some items, and we have reconciled all of those items here on change order number 32. The change order, really just have a breakdown for what that $63,000 is coming from. The majority, about $310,000, is coming from unused allowance items. As I said, this was a two-project contract, Unit 5, and by the time we got to Unit 5, Unit 2 was mostly completed first, and we had worked out a lot of the kinks using the allowance items and such during Unit 2. So Unit 5 we ended up using a lot less than anticipated. And let's see, we had some bid items we needed to adjust. We had to delete about $100,000 worth of work because of new future work from sanitation, so we can accommodate, so we don't have to do the work twice. And about $87,000 worth of bid items that we ended up not using because we didn't run into those conditions, such as removing debris that is hazardous or non-hazardous. Most of the debris, all of the debris removed was just contaminated. That's it.
Any questions? Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion on agenda item number 2. Seconded by Commissioners Davis and Rivas. We'll go ahead and the report will be adopted. And any objection to sending it forthwith? Okay, we'll go ahead and send it forthwith. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item number 3. With the Office of Community Beautification, in CD 11, encroachment in public right-of-way to the Venice Public Art Forum at 522 East Venice Boulevard, recommending the board, number 1, authorize the Office of Community Beautification to grant revocable permission to encroach within the public right-of-way, subject to listed conditions, to the Venice Public Art Forum for the installation of concrete, sculptured, mosaic, tiled eggs at the corner of Venice Boulevard through to Mildred Avenue at Ocean Avenue, 522 East Venice Boulevard. Number 2, authorize the city engineer to issue no-fee revocable permit for work to be performed. Number 3, authorize the city engineer to issue no-fee A permit for work to be performed. And number 4, authorize the Office of Community Beautification to request the Bureau of Contract Administration to provide a no-fee inspection of the project. Mr. Roch.
Good morning, Paul Roch, Director of the Office of Community Beautification. Our office coordinates the Adopt a Median program, in which community groups partner with the City of Los Angeles to adopt and beautify an area of public property. Up until 2011-12, we also had a program, the Community Beautification Grant Program, which provided cash funding to neighborhood groups to provide these types of improvement and beautification projects. Over the years, over 1,100 community beautification projects were funded through the OCB grant program, and although the last grants were given out in 2012, there are still a few of those projects that are working their way towards completion, such as the one before us this morning in Venice. This project, again, is a encroachment request for the placement of public art at 522 East Venice Boulevard. It encountered some delays while a determination had to be made as to exactly which portion of this triangular piece of land was actually owned by the City of Los Angeles and which was private property. So that accounted for the delay. But those determinations have finally been reached, and a resolution was made so that we're able to now proceed this morning in requesting board approval for the issuance of permits. This project involves, again, the installation of some large decorative mosaic tile balls on the corner of Venice Avenue and Ocean Avenue in the community of Venice, as well as planting and landscaping the area. Just as an FYI, this particular location is 1 block from where the Venice Tigers, an old Pacific Coast League baseball team, played in 1913 and 1914. And the decorative balls are meant as a tie-in to that baseball history in the particular area. The group adopting the location is the Venice Public Arts Organization. Project plans have been reviewed and approved by Bureau of Engineering, Bureau of Street Services, and the Department of Transportation. Board approval is now requested to accept this project as part of the Adopt a Median program and to issue the requested permits for completion of the work.
I see a letter from Councilmember Bonin's office supporting this, and I see that these tiled eggs are indeed very lovely. Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Roch. Let's move on to agenda item number 4. We have a speaker card on item 4. Ms.
Vice
Christine-
President Repenning, I do need a motion on item number 3 for adoption consideration.
Oh, we need to move, yes. Mr. Davis, Commissioner Rivas, thank you.
Moved
Should we
by
send it forthwith?
Commissioner Davis and seconded by Commissioner Rivas.
Yes. Any
Thank you.
objections to sending it forthwith? Hearing none, we'll send it forthwith. Agenda item
Thank you very much.
number 4, CD 13, encroachment in public right-of-way to the Los Angeles Conservation Corps to beautify the median on Riverside Drive and Gale Street in Elysian Valley, recommending the board, number 1, authorize the Office of Community Beautification to grant revocable permit to encroach within the public right-of-way, subject to listed conditions, to the Los Angeles Conservation Corps. I have an amendment here on behalf of the Elysian Valley Neighborhood Watch for the installation of California-friendly plants aimed at maximizing water conservation and installation of new irrigation on the median island at Riverside Drive and Gale Street in Elysian Valley. Number 2, authorize the city engineer to issue no-fee revocable permit for work to be performed. Number 3, authorize the city engineer to issue a no-fee A permit for work to be performed. And number 4, authorize the Office of Community Beautification to request the Bureau of Contract Administration to provide a no-fee inspection of the project. I have another amendment. Transmittal number 2 will be revised and resubmitted to the Office of Community Beautification to reflect the correct business name, which is the Elysian Valley Neighborhood Watch. Also, discussion number 2 should say Elysian Valley Neighborhood Watch instead of LA Conservation Corps. Mr. Roch?
Paul Roch, Director of the Office of Community Beautification. This is another Adopt a Median project that's come through our office. The location is a median island along Riverside Drive and Gale Street in the Elysian Valley community of Council District 13. The Office of Councilmember O'Farrell has provided funding to the Los Angeles Conservation Corps for the rebuilding and replacement of an old median island, so it's a brand new, fully refurbished median island at this point. That work is now in its wrap-up stages, been completed, and the LA Conservation Corps is ready to move ahead on the next phase of the project, which is the actual landscaping of the median island through the Adopt a Median program. Commissioner Repenning read a few of the small revisions to the original board report submitted, in which case LA Conservation Corps is doing the work and adopting the island on behalf of the Elysian Valley Neighborhood Watch Organization, which is the community organization in the area. With that being said, we do request board approval. I believe the council office has a public comment
Yes,
card.
I have a speaker card from Christine Peters, representing Council District 13. Good morning, Christine.
Good morning, Commissioners. Christine Peters on behalf of Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell. Thank you so much. Thank you to Paul and his team for working with us on this project. Commissioner Repenning is, I'm sure, very familiar with this particular median island. There's been discussions of trying to come up with a beautification process to improve this particularly very I guess, brutalist architecture, concrete, Caltrans adjacent island. So it's taken us a long time to actually get to this place, and so I would like to just take a few moments to talk through some of the details of, how and why, and some of the reasons why we needed to team with the LA Conservation Corps, also as part of our maintenance agreement. Council District 13 teams with the Conservation Corps. Aside from on this construction project, we actually annually contract with them for upwards of $230,000 a year to do a clean streets and clean river program for us. And that's an annual allotment that we do because we recognize that as noble as it is for our community partners to want to contract, agree to do beautification with us, their capacity is not always have the ability to do the kind of deep maintenance that's required. In this particular situation with this median, we recognize that the Riverside Gale median is on Riverside Drive, which is adjacent to the 5 freeway and is a secondary highway. It would be a lot for us to ask the Elysian Valley Neighborhood Watch to do all types of maintenance on this island, and so we want to make sure that the Conservation Corps, through our CD13 Clean team, also has that obligation, because what we always see at the council office level is that our neighborhood partners will call us up and say, hey, the median's looking a little blighty, a little weedy, the irrigation needs to be fixed, and we'll say, thank you for being our community partner, and then we call our clean team. So we don't want to go down the road of assuming that the Elysian Valley Neighborhood Watch would be able to do all of the maintenance on a median of this scale. Our council office has fully funded this median. We did an AB 1290 transfer to LA Conservation Corps already so that they have the money to do the construction, and we're already in contract with them to do maintenance ongoing. We would also assume that as a successor to our office, if and when that happens, I mean when that happens, because there's no if, we're not forever, that the successor elected would also want to maintain these types of beautiful projects in our district. So we don't see that as a problem. And the Neighborhood Watch, like any other neighborhood group, what their successor plans are in the future, we don't know what those are either. So we think this is the best way to move forward so that we know that the council office has the capacity to fund this type of heavy maintenance. As far as the light maintenance, we still expect them to partner with us because the Riverside Drive will need DOT to do a lane closure for any type of work in this area because, again, it is a secondary highway. It's an on-ramp adjacent to the 5 freeway, and it would not be safe for just any neighborhood group to just march out there and try and clean the median without the assistance of the city family. So we hope that you'll approve this as presented, and we'll update the maintenance agreement to include the Neighborhood Watch and the CD13 Clean team, but we want to make sure that they're both in there so that we make sure that once this happens, that this is maintained in perpetuity and is an asset for all of us in the city family. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. I appreciate the creativity that goes into making projects like this happen, not to mention the tenacity. I've been watching the East Hollywood medians under construction. They're really starting to look great. So I look forward to the improvements to the Riverside median. Colleagues, any questions? Okay. Moved by Commissioner Davis, seconded by Commissioner Rivas. We'll go ahead and adopt this report as amended, subject to conditions. Any objections to sending it forthwith? Okay, report will be sent forthwith. Thank you, Paul, Office of Community Beautification, Council District 13. Appreciate you. Agenda item number 5, revise the construction budget and issue revised construction order to Tomovich and Associates for emergency sewer repairs, recommending the board, number 1, authorize a revised construction budget of a not-to-exceed amount of $4 million and an increase of $1,900,000 above the current not-to-exceed budget of $2,100,000 for the emergency sewer repairs to the north outfall sewer located at Mission Road 600 block between 6th Street and Jesse Street, and number 2, authorize the city engineer to issue revised construction orders up to $4 million to Tomovich and Associates for this project to stabilize the sewer emergency. This is Council District 13, Bureau of Engineering and Sanitation. From the Bureau of Engineering, we have Rafael Solorzano.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Rafael Solorzano from Wastewater Command Construction Group. Today I'll be discussing the emergency project at Jesse Street and Mission Road. This job was initiated on July 12, where BOE responded to a sinkhole over the NOS at the 2200 block of Jesse Street. Tomovich and Associate was the next available contractor who accepted the project. On July 18th, the 1925 semi-elliptical 60-inch sewer collapsed, causing a major sewer spill. The engineer on site directed the contractor to immediately set up a temporary bypass and also notified the Bureau of Sanitation, who also assisted with their crews to assist with the mitigation of the sewer spill. The temporary bypass was comprised of 8 large pumps bypassing the NOS and a 30-inch on Mission Street, and a 33-inch and a 10-inch on 6th Street as well. Approximately 3,000 linear feet of 18-inch sewer bypass line was installed. In addition to this, we had to protect the bypass lines because of the work being done by the 6th Street Viaduct contractor for demolition work. During the stabilization of the temporary bypass, the engineer decided to build a wet well to collect all the flows being bypassed. This is the best method to assess it and determine the method of repair. Unfortunately, during the construction of the wet well, we ran into several challenges. We had to support a storm drain, remove the utilities, and approximately 10 feet below the street surface, we realized that the NOS was actually pressurized because of the collapses downstream. This prevented us to continue the construction, so therefore we requested the contractor to construct a second wet well at Artemis and Mission Road. With the completion of this wet well, we were able to resume work on the original wet well. And again, we ran into more challenges. We ran into large voids, missing pipes, which actually delayed the work as well, and also heavy sewer debris as well. With all these significant changes, running the 24-hour bypass and maintenance, 24-hour security, traffic control, and the construction of the 2 wet wells. And remember, these wet wells were being built 24 hours, 7 days a week. It really increased the cost of this project. That is why we're asking for the additional $1.9 million, bringing the project total to $4 million. Is there any questions?
So this is the work done to repair the sewer that burst in July.
Right, this is to stabilize the emergency, correct.
Yes, and so you guys got out there and found in the course of construction a number of
It was a
issues.
really challenging situation out there. We had sewage spill all over the street. And once we got out to it, the first thing is to stabilize the emergency. And basically, we just had to go to the maintenance holes that were spilling and set up temporary bypass pumps. And afterwards, this is when we decided to do the wet well, so we could assess and determine how to fix the remaining portion.
So is this increase it's gonna be fixed?
This portion is only for the stabilization of it, yes, this amount.
Okay. Questions?
Yeah,
Commissioner Davis.
I know it was an unforeseen circumstance. We built the first wet well thinking that it would help augment the problem.
Correct.
And I guess in doing that, it did not do so, and the second wet well was having to be built. Is that
Correct. What happened was, inside the well, as we excavated 10 feet to the NOS, every time we scooped down, we got sewage breaching right into the pit. And the reason why was because of the collapses downstream. It just made the whole system pressurized.
so? That perhaps was not the best area to construct a wet well.
At that time it was, because that's where we had a bypass set up. And the reason is, at that location, we have the NOS, and then we have a 30-inch tying into it on Mission, and a 33 as well on 6th Street, and a 10-inch. So that was a choke point.
Questions? Okay. I'll go ahead and move on agenda item number 5. Seconded by Commissioner Davis. This will be adopted. Any objection to sending it forthwith? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and send it forthwith. Thank you, Raphael.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 6. We have a motion recommending that the board, number 1, adopt motion to authorize payments for the second low-interest 1% loan obtained in September 2014 from the State of California's Energy Commission to convert an additional 3,000 incandescent streetlights to low-voltage, energy-efficient units, and, number 2, authorize the Director of the Bureau of Street Lighting to execute in the name of the Department of Public Works, Bureau of Street Lighting, all necessary documents to implement and carry out the motion. On agenda item number 6, we have Assad Al-Najjar. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here on behalf of the Grant Funds Division, and basically no, that's the next one, sorry. Okay, this is the motion for the payment of a second loan that we, as a street lighting, got granted by the State of California Energy Commission. It's 1%. The loan documents and contracts and has been signed, and done forthwith. However, we couldn't start the progress payments, which is the first one is due December 22nd, until we get the motion. So that's why we're here. The loan is required for the conversion of the unsafe high voltage lights that we have and to provide the new lighting system.
Okay. Commissioner Rivas.
So the work for this loan, the work has already been completed in terms of the conversion for these high voltage lights?
It's halfway. It's part of the 5-year program.
Oh.
So the funds, the first loan covered the sort of about 20% of the work progress, and the second loan is covering the next 3 years.
Okay. So we're in year 2 right now, right? Of
Exactly.
year 5.
Yes.
Of completely. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I know that our conversion program is something that we're all very proud of. It's a great example of how we can decrease costs to the city while increasing our sustainability. Do I have a motion on agenda item number 6? Commissioner Rivas.
Second.
Commissioner Davis is going to second. That will be adopted. And are there any objections to sending this forthwith? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and send it forthwith. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item number 7. We have some oral reports from the bureaus on the status of grant-funded programs and projects. We'll go ahead and start with the Bureau of Engineering. I have Shirley Lau and Jean Edwards. Good morning, Ms. Lau.
Good morning. Shirley Lau with the Bureau of Engineering Bridge Improvement Division. Today I'll be briefly going over progress of our construction projects. So I like to reference the blue handout that is being passed out right now. So we have 6 bridge projects in the construction phase. Riverside Drive over Los Angeles River. We have the North Spring Street over Los Angeles River. The Riverside Drive near Zoo Drive, which is near Griffith Park. We have the Soto Street near Mission Road and Huntington Drive. And 2 bridge projects in the valley, San Fernando Valley, the Laurel Canyon Boulevard over to Hunga Wash and the Vanoan Street over Bull Creek. And so I listed that on page 2 of the slides. So the first project I'd like to start off with is the Riverside Drive over Los Angeles River project, and that's on page 3 of the handout. Just for some background, this is a bridge replacement project. The demolished Riverside Drive Bridge was geometrically deficient and had substandard roadway and substandard bike and ped facilities. So this new 1,200-foot bridge has 4 travel lanes, a protected pedestrian and bicycle facility. The pedestrian facility will be 8 feet wide, and the adjacent bike path will be 12 feet wide. And as seen in the photo, the aerial view of Riverside Drive in slide 3, we are complete with the bridge, and in the next several weeks we are finishing the traffic roundabout, which is, you can see at the far right there. And also in progress is some utility work for the underground power conduits, and also we will have some installation of permanent signage and permanent striping throughout the project. On the next page on slide 4, it's a closer view of that bridge. You can see the new railing and the lighting that's been completed on the bridge. And this is where this northerly side of the bridge is where the pedestrian and the bike facility will be. So pedestrians will walk along this side, and the adjacent bike facility will also be here. And they will be looking northerly, in the northerly direction along the LA River. So we're really excited about this bike facility, specifically that it will connect to the existing LA River bike path. And I think in the past, dealing with the DOT bike group, getting over this crossing was a very big challenge, and we're glad that this bridge project can facilitate that crossing. So moving on to the next project on page 5 is the North Spring Street over LA River project. Construction is about 75% complete. This project seismically retrofits and widens the bridge by 26 feet to accommodate sufficient travel lanes, a striped median, bike lanes, and also sidewalks. We have completed the retrofit work, and the river pier structure is complete. We worked on the west and the east approachway of the superstructure, and that's almost complete. And right now, what you see in the photos is the installation of the false work for the arches. And construction of the arches and the superstructure will be ongoing in 2017. Next on slide 6, this is the Riverside Drive near Zoo Drive project, which involves a seismic retrofit and widening of the existing bridge by 19 feet on the east side. And with the widening, it will provide for 4 travel lanes, the addition of 5 feet wide shoulders that can be used into bike lanes, and also 8 feet wide sidewalks. So in addition to the bridge work, this project provides for a bike path undercrossing. And so on page 7, you can see there's a rendering of the bike path undercrossing at the bridge. And we're also very excited that this provides a key connectivity for the LA River bike path. Currently, at this point, the LA River bike path ends, and so using the undercrossing in the future, it will connect to the LA River bike path phase 4, I believe it's called, in the future. That would be on the westerly, and it'll go into the San Fernando Valley. So this project is ongoing, and we anticipate it to be completed next year. On page 8 is the Soto Mission project. It was a demolition of the originally functionally obsolete bridge structure, which you see on the top left-hand corner. That's a demolished bridge. The bridge is no longer there. After the demolition, the street and intersection work to realign this area has been in progress, and we have some photos. The lower right-hand is the realigned street and the newly paved street. And this project was able to add some open space, and so the left-hand photo on the bottom shows the graded area. We're going to be adding landscaping and also a public art component. And so the community has been very involved in this project, and they're very happy to see it's wrapping up. We're about 88% complete and anticipated to finish in spring of 2017. On the next slide, slide 9, Laurel Canyon Boulevard widening. It widens the existing bridge deck by 39 feet, 19.5 feet on each side. The improvements include also new architectural barriers and sidewalks, and also some bridge approach work. We've completed the majority of the substructure work. Some minor work in the Tahunga Wash will occur in the next dry season, which starts in April 2017. And we'll do the remaining superstructure work on the north side in the next year. And the very last project I'd like to just go over briefly is Van Noen Street, and that's the last slide. It widens the existing deck by 21 feet, 9 feet on the north side and 12 feet on the south side. And we've included new architectural barriers. So the widening work is pretty much complete. We just have some remaining work, paving and some sidewalk work. And so we anticipate this project will be done in spring of 2017. So that concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to make comment too. Yes, that this report is a very good report, and I'm very proud of the progress that we are making. And I think it's representative of what we want to do and reflects what we hope for in terms of the quality of work and improving our infrastructure. So thank you for it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Just wanted some comments. Thank you, Shirley, for this detailed overview of all of our bridge projects. I was fortunate to visit one of them, the Soto Street, recently, along with Commissioner Jacinto, and I was very impressed that the community was very supportive with the demolition of that bridge, and how we even expect property values to go up because of all of the improvements and the park that is being added to that community. That bridge, as you had mentioned to us, had caused accidents in the past, and there was no traffic light for people to cross the street. And because of this project, now it's just definitely a community improvement. and I can't wait to see the finished park and area. And so I was very impressed by your team and how excited everyone was to work on this project. So thank you
Thank
for
you,
your
Commissioner.
work.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Morning, Commissioners, and happy Friday to everybody. I am Gene Edwards. I am the Program Manager of the Street Improvement Program for the Bureau of Engineering. And you may have two handouts in front of you. The first is a copy of our Master Schedule Gantt chart, which is our 3-year work plan. And also you have a spreadsheet with some details summarizing our projects on the Master Schedule. The Bureau of Engineering Street Program is under the oversight of the Street and Transportation Oversight Committee. The projects listed on the program have various funding sources, including federal grants, Measure R, special gas tax, general fund, assessments, and other special funds. On the 3-year work program, we have 82 active projects. Of the 82 projects, 37 are in their pre-design phase. 38 are in their design phase, including right-of-way acquisition. 13% are in construction or will be awarded this fiscal year. And 12% have completed projects and are being closed out administratively. There are a number of projects on the program that are either emergencies or urgent necessities, and I just wanted to highlight those for you. Number 16 on the master schedule is a project entitled Diamond Street Subsidence. This is located in CD 14. This urgent project will provide approximately $600,000 in construction repairs to mitigate excessive subsidence in Diamond Street, and this is adjacent to the city-owned Figueroa Towers. That would be the South Tower. Subsidence mitigation will require opening the street to expose existing utilities, and then we will be injecting high-density expanding structural polymers to depths of 20 feet, and this will help consolidate and stabilize the subsidence. The next project I want to highlight is number 25 on the master schedule, entitled Foulmouth North of 83rd Street. This is a sidewalk and street damage that occurred in the winter rains of 2016 in CD 11. This project provides approximately $400,000 in general funds to repair the damage. The initial damage was mitigated by the Department of Street Services, where they infilled the erosion with slurry, and now it's time to go back and do the permanent repair. So that will be done in the spring. The next project is project number 30 on the master schedule, entitled Harding Street Bridge Rock Slope Protection, and this is located in Council District 7. This is approximately $400,000 in permanent slope protection repairs to the bridge's foundation. The project includes habitat restoration as required by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. There's also the project number 12 on the master schedule, which is the demolition of the city-acquired building at 2301 Olympic Boulevard, located in Council District 14. And this provided approximately $300,000 in demolition. The building was acquired for a street improvement project, and was a nuisance to vagrants and vandals. So it was urgent that we demolish it ahead of the street improvement project. And finally, number 9 on the schedule, the Sun Valley EDA Public Improvement Project, located in both Council 6 and 7, Council District 6 and 7. This project was funded by the U.S. Economic Development Administration, including $5.2 million in street improvements. But it also included 46 infiltration dry wells, which was funded by DWP. Modification to these dry wells were recently completed. These modifications included elimination of standing water and also needed to improve the efficiency of the dry wells. I also want to highlight a few larger projects that are projects for award this fiscal year. The first is number 15 on the master schedule, Hamilton Avenue widening from Patton Avenue to Barbara Street. And this is located in the San Pedro area of Council District 15. And your board awarded this project on October 24th, and it has a construction budget of $1.25 million. It's funded by gas tax and will widen the north side of Hamilton Avenue by 18 feet between Patton Avenue and Barber Street, with curb, gutter, sidewalk, street pavement, street trees, to meet the standards of standard street dimensions for local streets. Before the contractor mobilizes, he will be required to submit approvals for his worksite traffic control plan, and we expect him to start the physical work by February of 2016. There's another project, number 17 on the master schedule. It's the Century Boulevard extension from Great Street to Alameda Street, and this is located in the Watts area of Council District 15. The Century Boulevard extension project is the initial phase of the Jordan Downs redevelopment projects being coordinated by the Housing Authority of the City of Los Angeles and the Mayor's Office. The Century Boulevard extension project will extend Century Boulevard from Great Street to Alameda Street, a distance of approximately half a mile. This project will include the design and construction of new roadway, sidewalks, curb and gutter, street lights, traffic signals, striping and signs, drainage pipes and catch basins, sewer lines, water lines, landscaping, and also green street elements. Century Boulevard is the backbone to the redevelopment of Jordan Downs housing complex. The Housing Authority's overall program is to replace the existing 700 units with up to 1,400 new units of approximately 100,000 square feet of retail space serving the neighborhood. The redeveloped Jordan Downs will include parks and also a community center. Bids for the Century Boulevard extension project was received November 9th, and the award of the construction contract will be requested by this board soon, provided expedited review of the bidder's contract compliance is completed quickly.
Thank you, sir.
And the last project I want to highlight is number 19 on the master schedule, entitled Olympic Boulevard and Mateo Street Improvements, located in CD 14. And this is a federally funded project of approximately $1.5 million in construction for street improvements by adding a right turn lane to the westbound vehicular lane on Olympic Boulevard between Mateo and Santa Fe Avenue, and increasing both curb returns on the northbound of Mateo Street between Olympic Boulevard and Porter Street to improve freeway access. Additional right-of-way was acquired for this project in June of 2015 under eminent domain proceedings. Bids are due next Wednesday, December 14th. Construction is anticipated in this spring. In addition to these Bureau of Engineering projects, the Street Improvement Group has been requested to perform design of civil work on DOT-led projects. At the bottom of our master schedule, you will see 10 projects listed as design only. And these are projects 73 through 82. These are mostly handicap accessibility designs. Finally, the city has started to roll out capital improvement elements in order to meet the mayor's Vision Zero goal of reducing traffic fatalities by 20% by the end of 2017. Based on DOT's study of locations having a high number of collision incidents, there are a total of 29 intersections already selected and targeted for design and construction of pedestrian refuge islands to be completed by the end of 2017. These improvements are listed on the program's master schedule as project number 69. This concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. We will hear now from the Bureau of Sanitation. We have Mr. Iman. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Good morning, Madam President, Commissioners, and Bureau representatives. My name is Hadan Iman with the Bureau of Sanitation. As requested by the board, Sanitation has prepared a comprehensive grants report for the period covering from June 1, 2016 through November 30, 2016. Attachments A through F have been distributed for your review as I go through the oral report. The Bureau currently has $29.4 million in executed agreements for 32 grants as reflected in the semi-annual active grant summary attachment A and as detailed in attachment B. This amount represents 3 grants totaling $1.3 million for the Clean Water Program, 1 grant totaling $1.7 for the Environmental Quality Program, 14 grants totaling $7.7 million for the Soil Risk Program, and 12 grants totaling $18.6 for the Watershed Protection Program. Attachment C. In Attachment C, the Bureau was awarded $1.11 million in grant funding for 2 projects during this period, of which 1.1 is for the Used Oil Payment Program and $100,000 for the local government waste tire clean-up grant program. The Bureau was denied funding for 4 projects totaling $5.5 million in Attachment D. The Bureau is currently awaiting funding decisions for 17 projects totaling $68.6 million as shown in Attachment E. The last section is pending loan and grant applications with the State Water Recycling Funding Program in the total amount of $543.5 million, consisting of the following. 1 loan application process ongoing with the state for $460 million to design and construct a recycling, water purification, conveyance, and associated facilities to replenish the San Fernando groundwater basin. 1 application for $20 million to increase production of recycled water at LAG. 1 grant application process for $15 million with the state to upgrade the Terminal Island water purification facility. And finally, 1 application process for $3.5 million to use ozone to disinfect recycled water before it's discharged into the LA River and to landscape use. This concludes my oral report. I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Iman. I appreciate all the work that you do at sanitation and applying and managing grants. Thank you very much. From the Bureau of Street Lighting, I have Mr. Al-Najjar. Welcome back.
Morning again, Commissioners. I'm presenting on behalf of the grant-funded projects division. At this time, the Bureau of Street Lighting has 2 street lighting initiated projects. The first one is the Lemon Grove Lighting Phase, which is a $266,000 project with 25 street lights that is providing the modern LED lights for the area to eliminate levels to improve safety and pedestrian bus ridership. The second project is the Elysian Valley Lighting Phase 4, which is about $200,000 to provide 10 street lights, modern LED lighting system for the owners in this area, which happen to be low and moderate income residents, and that will benefit the whole neighborhood. At the same time, the Bureau is working on 38 projects that are initiated by the other bureaus, with a total of street lighting improvement about $25 million, and that's to provide 1,980 lights. These lights are a combination between street lights, bus stop lights, pedestrian lighting, and at this time they are in the various stages. Some of them are in planning, some of them are in the design, some of them in Prop 218, and some of them are in construction. The projects have different flavors, some of them for transit enhancements, other ones for bikeways, for bike paths and streetscapes, and bus stop improvements. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Okay. We will go ahead and receive the reports.
Thank you.
Do I need a motion for that, sir?
No.
Okay. Mr. Executive Officer, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Okay, then we'll go ahead and adjourn today's meeting of the Board of Public Works for Friday, December 9th.